It is a challenge, of course, but you can clearly accomplish too, because our sustainability agenda, we're pushing forward, and we're pushing forward fast, and we're turning a profit, and a lot of doing good. Our Formula One team and our racing teams, we're here to entertain the world, but we're also here to take our technology and our know-how and how to make the world a better place. And we've got fascinating technologies and know-how that we work with a lot of our sponsor partners, governments. And a good example was, as you mentioned, during COVID-19, there was the Ventilator UK Challenge, where a handful of Formula One teams and a few other industry leaders came together, and we made about 10 years worth of ventilators in 10 weeks. So I'm very proud to say I'm sure those efforts saved some lives.
How much harder does the job become because of the cost cap era? Or does that make it easier, considering that you have to zone in and focus in, you're spending a whole lot more?
Well, I think from a cost cap standpoint, we're huge fans of that. We're big advocates of that when that got put in place, because it levels the playing field from a sporting standpoint. Now what we need to do is, anytime we negotiate new financial regulations or sporting regulations, we kind of, before the digital age came, we had agreements, and it was like, we hadn't thought about that, because kind of digital was evolving. Now that sustainability is evolving so quick, there's things that are in our various regulations, sporting, technical, and financial, that we think need to be modified to be able to further embrace and invest in sustainability, and not put teams in a situation where, do I invest in sustainability or performance of the race car? That becomes a tricky choice when you're in the business of performing race cars. So I think we need to have regulations that will allow us to do both.
Yeah, so very significant conversation there. Also got to speak then really around how F1 has moved away really from the carbon-intensive, money-intensive industry that it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s in particular. But Zach Brown still believes that while they've moved to a cost cap era, even more still can actually be done to improve things quite significantly. And this is what he had to say about that.
I think a lot. I think we're just getting started in this journey. I think, sustainability can be led by technology and innovation, and that's something that's the world we live in, and we continue to innovate. So I think it's very early days. I also think it's a race that we're all in together. It's not us versus them. We should be doing this together, and there's a lot of enthusiasm for that. And I also think it's a journey where you might see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're never going to get to the end of the tunnel, because we can always be doing better. So like a Formula One mindset, it's all about incremental gains year over year.
Investing in something like, for example, your Formula E team, electric vehicle batteries as well, is that something you look towards as well as a way to lead into the sustainability
I think it's definitely why we got involved in Formula E. It's electric racing. It's why we got involved in Extreme E, which is not only electric racing, that where we race, we really kind of highlight climate change, but also has gender equality, because you have a male and a female driver racing evenly against other teams. And so DE&I is also very important to us. So under the sustainability umbrella, there's safety, there's DE&I, there's well-being, and then of course there's the carbon element, and all of them are equally as important. So our racing platforms give us a great area to kind of dive into each one of those. And then also, of course, sustainable fuels are right around the corner.